Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on some DC news. So we are officially into the month of May, which should, and obviously emphasis on should, be the month we finally get the official trailer for James Gunn's Superman, as the trailer that was released back in December of last year was just the teaser. And of course, then we got that sneak peek of around 5 or so minutes from CinemaCon earlier in April, but there is a lot of talk that there could be rumblings of new projects being reported, not officially, but just from those those certain sources that say, oh, I've heard this is in the works and stuff like that, as we move closer and closer to San Diego Comic-Con at the end of July, where they could be potentially announced, with the 2 weeks prior to that event, of course, being the release date of Superman. So it should be an interesting next few months if you're a DC fan. But outside of that, we got a variety of news to go over from this upcoming DC Universe reboot coming our way, so let's do that. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions and everything we go over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking, and of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, drop a like, takes 2 seconds. So the first thing to go over is regarding Sergeant Rock. Now this, what we're talking about here, is coming from Deadline, though there were some rumblings a few, or maybe a couple of hours before this specific article was posted. So anyway, what they have to say here is Sergeant Rock halts. I don't know if that's meant to be a military bit of a pun there, but anyway, Sergeant Rock halts. Pre-production now eyeing summer 2026 production start, and this is what they had to say. Sergeant Rock, DC's superhero flick to team Luca Guadagnino and the Penguins' Colin Farrell, has halted production plans, sources have confirmed to Deadline. While the film was supposed to enter production in the coming months, we're now told it'll look to shoot next summer. Studio insiders said that ultimately shooting this summer was untenable, as the team would have had to have rushed through prep to hit the right weather conditions at the right time. The film is being shot primarily on location in the United Kingdom, and shooting exteriors in the dead of winter would not have been optimal conditions for cast, crew, and equipment. The Sergeant Rock news comes as a shock, as the film was greenlit months ago with a $65 million budget and planned to shoot this August. Sources close to the project say Guadagnino was scouting locations last week, and that the studio was far down the line with Alien Romulus breakout David Johnson to join Farrell, as well as Challenger star Mike Feist, who also had an offer. Now, the most interesting thing around this is that you read this and go, okay, just a bit of a delay, weather conditions, everything like that. That makes sense. You want it to fit, if you're making a movie about skateboarding, what am I talking about? Snowboarding. You probably gonna film in a condition where snow is on the mountain and stuff like that. Or if you're filming a surfing movie, you want to probably film it in decent surfing conditions. So it makes sense that you'd film it at the time that's right, and if you're not going to hit that mark, then delay it a bit. But the most interesting thing about this is that a couple of hours before it was being reported, I don't know from what outlet put it out there. I don't know if it was Variety, if it was Deadline, I'm not 100% sure, but they reported that the movie was actually cancelled. So they took this delay thing, that it wasn't going to hit this certain start date in the next couple of months, as a cancellation notice, but that's not what the case was. So it was good that it only took I think it was about 2 hours or something for this sort of rectification to come out and say hold on, the movie's not cancelled, it's just not coming, we're not starting filming when we were planning to. And of course this is going to push back whatever rough release date they had for the film. But this is one where I am surprised it is a $65 million budget. I thought it might have maybe been a bit, maybe in the 50s and stuff like that, but maybe that just comes with the talent involved, and maybe they do think that it could be a decent box office success. With a $65 million budget, you only have to make 200 and you're pretty damn successful off that budget. So you put the DC logo on that, you maybe even put some little DC Easter eggs and stuff like that. The rumor is that the Spear of Destiny is the main MacGuffin in this film and stuff like that. So I think that's a decent draw card, and you'd have to think this movie would at least make $200 million, if not at least 150. But I mean, I don't think this movie's too high on many DC fans' lists. It's not in the top 3 in regards to the projects we know that are coming our way, but it's still something of curiosity. So it's good to hear that it's not cancelled, and if they have to take the time to do it, whatever, because this movie could come out whenever, and it's not going to affect Superman, it's not going to affect Supergirl, it's not going to affect Batman Brave and the Bold. Other movies, yes, can affect that, but this is such a off-center film in this universe that it doesn't really matter when it comes out, but you also don't want it being there and just being constantly delayed and stuff like that. But speaking of production, reportedly Clayface is beginning production on October 1st. So yes, that's still 5 months away, but that means that the ball will start rolling here, like we've seen with Sergeant Rock. So you'll see things in regards to actors, locations, and everything like that coming out. But once again, this is very similar to Sergeant Rock. With Clayface, you'd expect some information about this film at Comic-Con at the end of July. Obviously, it's still not confirmed that DC's attending, but they don't have their own like D23 thing. Like, you got to use Comic-Con. They didn't do anything at CinemaCon, so hopefully they do something at Comic-Con this year just to at least give fans some stuff. But yeah, Clayface coming out, or starting production, might I say, on October 1st, and it's meant to release at the end of next year, or September 11th. That's its aim. So that's a, for a movie that size, that's a decent start date, and it's not too early and obviously not too late either. And the final few things to go over in this video are all from Superman, of course, the upcoming film, but of course the first like big thing within this new DC universe. Now, this is not a first look. Obviously, we've seen this character many times before, but we see this new behind the scenes look at James Gunn. Of course not. We're talking about Eddie Gathegi here as Mr. Terrific, and on the right there you can see the back of Superman. I'd assume that's David Corenswet. It could be stunt double or stand-in. I'm not too sure, but we can assume it's David Corenswet at the very least. But you get a bit more of a front-on look here of Mr. Terrific. Of course, he's like, his suit is sort of like the design base that they're going for with the other members of what apparently is called the Justice Gang, which is lame. But I think it's intentionally lame. I think it's meant to seem very like corporate, like, oh, what are the kids into? Oh, we call it the Justice Gang. So that seems like what they're going for here. I do see a lot of people wondering if like there's going to be a change in suit with all those members. So Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and I guess to an extent Metamorpho, though his look doesn't seem like it'll fall in with this. And I would say, like, yes, going forward in the DC universe, their looks would change because you'd assume they'd come out and they wouldn't be a part of that Lord Tech group anymore. But at the same time, I don't know if you're going to get it in this movie. I'd be sort of surprised if they did that. Like, the only other person I see, well, the only character I see getting multiple suits in this film is Superman. But I think, like, the general look of Mr. Terrific looks good and everything like that, and it will be interesting to see, like, how big of a part of the movie he is. Like, I think we haven't seen much of, like, what's probably going to make him cool, like his intellect, the acting performance itself, obviously the tech that he uses, like the T-spheres and stuff like that. We haven't seen much of that. Hopefully we get some of that in that official trailer, which should hopefully come out sometime this month. But yeah, he looks decent from everything we've seen so far. And the next thing to look at is this new still of Superman and Lois in... not Superman and Lois, but in the film of Superman. This was around like those set photos. This is actually like a proper photo of, like, that they wanted taken on that set. It looks fine. Like, of course, I saw people really nitpicking. Oh, the rubble looks fake. What are we talking about? Who cares? It looks good. I mean, it doesn't really show us much because this is once again from those set photos, so nothing really new here, but it's cool to get another like HD look of the film. But the final thing to talk about is David Corenswet talking on the process of the Superman suit. And I won't really set this up too much because we'll just talk what was taken from the interview. It may be something of a Superman tradition to try on your predecessor's costume during a screen test. Henry Cavill did it with Christopher Reeves, and Corenswet did it with Cavill's, which he called a, quote, marvel of engineering. But the first time Corenswet put on his own Superman suit was not some magical transportive moment. In fact, he said it was wonderfully mundane. The suit was still in its beginning stages, not totally put together, and even a little small, as he'd already started putting on weight for the role. I remember the feeling of kind of growing into the suit and the suit growing around me, fitting by fitting, Corenswet said. We had such an amazing costume team and they built the suit around me for over the course of many weeks and months, and it started to feel just a little bit like home for me. The first time he felt the impact of it was through the eyes of other people. To him, it was old hat, but when he walked onto set the first time in the suit, he noticed something different from the cast and crew. I saw their faces sort of light up and I went, wait a minute, these people aren't that fond of me. He laughed. That's when it hits you, and that's a big thing. Like, a lot of like some of the cast and crew, they might have done the superhero movies before because like it did film, you know, in certain parts in like Atlanta, and then they went to Cleveland and everything like that. And they would have been around similar projects and like this. But that's probably like the emphasis of Superman as a character. And also, even if it was Batman, you got to remember like David Corenswet, what's the big difference between someone like Batman or Spider-Man or something like here? His entire head is exposed. It's his face. Like your face is Superman's face. Like with Batman, your jaw is Batman's jaw and your eyes. That's about it. With Spider-Man, none of it's you. Like you're under the suit completely. But with Superman, your face is Superman's face. So that changes when, you know, you're in that role. And I mean, you'd get that, you know, especially if you're excited to be on this project and everything along those lines. So it makes sense that people would, you know, react that way. And it's like, oh, Superman's here. And, you know, you feel like you're in not just the presence of David Corenswet, but you're in the presence of goddamn Superman as well. Now, one of the big things that people are very curious about is David Corenswet's performance, because we've heard from Gunn and the other actors and stuff like that David Corenswet does a really good job in the role of Superman. But that's probably the issue when you have like something like a teaser, is that there's not much there. Like you get, like a teaser is well known for not having a lot of dialogue and emphasis, like not a lot of story either. So that's what this official trailer, which should hopefully, once again, emphasis on should, and I guess hopefully come out at some time this month, really focus on, like, allow not just Superman, but Lois and all these other characters to talk and give us a bit of a feel of what the characters are. But then also let us know what this movie is going to be and what it's going for. It doesn't necessarily have to give away the twist of the movie or the message that the movie is meant to deliver, but just what it's going for. But yeah, guys, that's everything to go over. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything we went over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.